Hello, church. I want to share with you a little bit from Exodus today as we join together for another Lenten Luncheon. Today I'll be sharing a passage from Exodus, and this follows the Israelites as Moses has led them out of Egypt. And they have been able to leave Egypt because of the plagues that have been sent and because of the Passover that the Lord has provided as a means of escaping the shadow of death, the death of the firstborns. And then they head out on their way. And we find ourselves now in the 14th chapter of Exodus with these words. As Pharaoh drew closer, the Israelites looked back and saw the Egyptians marching toward them. The Israelites were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Weren't there enough graves in Egypt that you took us away to die in the desert? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt like this? Didn't we tell you the same thing in Egypt? Leave us alone, let us work for the Egyptians. It would have been better for us to work for the Egyptians than die in the desert." I don't know about you. Has there ever been a time in your life when things have been moving forward and you know that that's the direction God is taking you, and yet somewhere along the way you begin to question God and what God's doing and wonder if you might have been better off where you were because you knew the situation you were in there. You had come to, if not accept it, to deal with it, to tolerate it. And this moving forward is fearful. You don't know what God has planned, and you're worried that it may not work out for your good. Moses responds in the 13th chapter to the people, "Don't be afraid, stand your ground, and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see ever again. The Lord will fight for you, just keep still." I'm reminded of the words we shared Sunday from Ephesians, that having done all that you can, stand firm. And so as we look at this, we see that having told them that the Lord would work with them, such confidence Moses had, that Moses then approaches the sea, stretches out his hand over the sea, and the Lord causes the sea to go back and be pushed before a strong east wind all night, so that the children of Israel are able to walk across. How amazing it is, the things God does for us in the midst of our struggles when we follow his will, when we are willing to step forward in faith. And yet, the Egyptians were still in pursuit. So today I wanted us to think about who are the enemies that have pursued us at various times in our lives. And how did you know they were enemies? I say that in quotes because so often it's not a tangible enemy. Maybe it's fear becomes your enemy. Maybe it's distrust that becomes your enemy. Maybe it's just unhappiness or critical attitudes, things that just begin to pursue you and wear you down. And as we talked Sunday about this idea of durability, I think it's important to think about the 23rd Psalms. Did you know that the word follow in the last verse of Psalms 23 can be translated pursue? Surely goodness and mercy will, we normally say follow, but we could replace it with surely goodness and mercy shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's an attitude adjustment for us to begin to think about the fact that when we are walking in the Lord's will and we are moving forward in the Lord's will, that mercy and goodness are pursuing us, constantly pursuing us. If we can stand firm in God's will, then we know that God is working for our good to bring mercy and goodness into our lives. So I'd like for us to close today's Lenten Luncheon by sharing the 23rd Psalm. I'll give time for you to say it with me and maybe a pause here or there. for you to contemplate it. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He lets me rest in grassy meadows. He leads me to restful waters. He keeps me alive. He guides me in proper paths for the sake of his good name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, because you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they protect me. You set a table for me right in front of my enemies, and you bathe my head in oil. My cup is so full, it spills over. Yes, goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the Lord's house as long as I live. Friends, thank you for sharing today with me. I pray that this will give you hope, that if you are in the midst of enemies nipping at your heels, so to speak, that you will stop and contemplate the power of the Lord, and that mercy and goodness are in pursuit of you all the days of your life. Blessings.